What's up guys, welcome back to the Athletic Physio YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 3 most common mistakes why a lot of people are having knee pain. I see it all the time. And the first thing that I want to talk about is your ankle mobility. Now a lot of people neglect the feet and the ankles, but they're a foundation to every single thing we do. So you really need to work on that ankle mobility, because if you're running, you're lifting, you're squatting, and you have no range of motion through the ankles, your knees are going to take a beating. And you don't want to do that if you're trying to make some gains. So we need to look at gaining better mobility, getting better at squatting, stretching the ankle, and strengthening the feet. So your ankles move like trash, your knees are going to feel like trash. So later on in the video, we're going to show you some exercises to improve that ankle mobility. And then next, we're going to move on to the hips. So we want to make sure you guys have a good squat. A squat is a really good screening tool for knee pain. You got to be able to get down there, full range of motion, nice and straight through the back, and then as well as good control through the knees. So the next big thing we see with a lot of people, again, if those hips don't move well, and I mean not just walking, I mean have full range of motion, be able to use the hips in a full range without cheating and using your lower back. So if your hips don't move like hips, your lower back is going to feel it and your knees are going to feel it. So really come and assess yourself doing some hip cars. Are you able to actually move that hip fully? Until you can train your hip to move like a hip, your knees are always going to be compromised for everything you do. So fully understanding the functions of coming up into flexing your hip, being able to test yourself, bring it all the way out, down, and back around without using that lower back is super important. But most people I see, they can't even get their leg out to here and even figure out rotation. So before you even jump into that, check your body. Can you come up to here and get some rotation? Chances are you'll be pretty stiff through there, and we'll show you some mobility videos for that. But super important if you want to have good, healthy knees and build strong knees. Once we've addressed the mobility above and below the knee, at the hips and the ankle and the feet, you really want to understand how we can build strength through the quads. So a lot of people will do a lot of explosive movements, but the knees really get strengthened well with slow, controlled, eccentric movements. So we want to challenge the tissue in the knee, build strength with movements, with the knee over the toe, walking lunges, heavy and slow squats, and then teach the knees how to absorb forces and deal with impact. So I'm going to go and show you guys some exercises that are going to be really helpful, strengthen those ankles and strengthen knees. So check this out. All right guys, so the first thing about ankle mobility and training your ankles, ditch the shoes, make sure you're in your bare feet, really connecting with the ground. We're going to be doing a banded ankle mobilization here, so I'm going to be using the band right around my ankle. It's going to give me a little resistance to help mobilize the bone in the front of the ankle, and it's going to help pull me back. So a chair, a bench, doesn't matter what you're on. Then we're going to start with the weight afterwards. So make sure you're nice and stable. You're going to come forward. The key is don't let that heel come up. Keep the heel down the whole time. Slide back. So we're going to do 20 of these, feeling the stretch along the back of the ankle here. Use the bench to pull you a bit deeper. We're going to be rocking back and forth. And then after you've done 20 of those, grab the weight. We're going to add some extra load. The calves are tight. You walk all day. You really need to get some loading through there, adding some weight there. Pausing at the end, feeling that stretch sensation open up through the foot there. And again, after we've done this for, again, another minute or so, you're going to press your foot down like a gas pedal. Contract all the muscles in the back of the calf. Relax. Press down again, 3 sets, 10 seconds, really nice and opening up. Then we're going to pull all those toes up as hard as we can, activating the front of the shin, sinking a bit deeper. So make sure you're taking your time with this one, really opening up that ankle through dorsiflexion. Always do 2 sets on both sides. The first set is kind of your primer set, warming up those tissues. Then we're going to come a little bit more aggressive after that joint has opened up. So that's the first exercise we're going to be doing. Right as soon as you're done with that, you're going to get rid of your weight, and we're going to be doing some ankle cars. Now this is really important because a lot of people's ankles don't rotate. And again, if your ankle doesn't rotate and whenever you're doing circles, you're moving your whole leg, that's just more loading through the knee. So you can do this one after you've done the dorsiflexions. Grab your leg nice and tall. Pull your foot all the way up as slow as you can. Bring your foot across. Curl those toes down nice and slow. Imagine you're trying to trace a circle. Now the key here is to not to cheat with the rest of your leg and your body. Bringing that foot up and around. And if you can't make a full circle, focus on making that circle a little bit smaller and progressively going bigger. This is going to teach you how to gain the range of motion strictly from the ankle and without cheating through the knee and the hip. Super important, don't neglect these. The slower is the better, so take your time with this exercise. We're gonna move on to the hips. All right, guys, we're gonna move on to the hips. Now, if you don't have a rack at your gym, you can come by a wall at your house, but we're gonna come and hug the rack. Now, the key to hugging the rack is my hip is right beside it, so we're gonna train our hip to move like a hip without any cheating through the rest of the body. So I'm hugged through here, flexing the foot, slowly pulling that leg up as high as I can. Slow and control is the key, so we're maxing out our flexion, keeping my hip pulled against the rack. We're coming out into hip abduction. I'm out of room here, so I'm gonna turn my knee down, rotate my foot up, axial rotation, pause here at 45 degrees, and slowly bring that leg back into extension without using the lower back, back to the center. Then we're gonna get that core tight, keep hugging the rack, we're gonna kick back, turn the knee out, externally rotate. These should be pretty hard and pretty fatiguing. Hip cars are no joke, guys. Really respect the movement, go nice and slow. I'm gonna show you one in real time here. You should be breathing, really focus on keeping that core tight the whole time, coming back around, slowly twisting there to the start. So next we're gonna do a modification of these on the wall. So come follow me to the wall. We're gonna use a mat and we're gonna help modify this exercise to really make sure that you can do this at any skill level. So check this out. All right, guys, so if you found the last variation a little hard, we're gonna come modify using the mat on the wall. We're gonna do tall kneeling half hip circles. So I'm standing nice and tall, back is flat, my glutes are engaged. I'm gonna press into the wall. We're gonna lift our knee out, slowly come around, back to the start, placing your foot down. Again, slowly reversing that, bringing your foot out to the side, and slowly dropping that knee down. Make sure to do that on both sides, bracing the core, bring the knee back, slowly out, and back to the start. Lift the knee up, slowly back out to the side, and bring that knee back to the start. Now I want to make sure that you're not going and using that lower back, so really trying your best during this exercise to isolate all the movement from the hip. So give these a try, 3 to 5 on each side, nice and slow. Really feel the burn. Now we're gonna move on to the quads. All right, guys, we're gonna build some quad strength. We're gonna use a slant board to get more loading through the knees and through the patella tendon and the quads. So toes are pointed straight. You're gonna grab a goblet. We're gonna go slow on the way down. Nice and slow, let those knees come forward. Pause at the bottom, feel the stretch. Spine's tall, stretching back up. So when we're going slow on the eccentric component, the lowering of the exercise, we build a lot of strength and resiliency through the tendons and the connective tissue compared to going very fast up and down. You can save that for another time, but nice and slow here. And back up. Now, as you get stronger, you can do this with one leg. To really strengthen your knees, but there's no need to rush towards that. I'm using a weight here. I've been doing these for a long time, but you can drop the weight, focus on some nice slow eccentrics on that single leg squat, and coming back up. Super great exercise to strengthen your knees. Now we're gonna move into a lunging variation. All right, guys, so the last exercise we're going to be doing to build strong knees is gonna be walking lunges. These are super important because they focus on staying stable, using that ankle mobility we just opened up, but making sure that as you step and you press back up, that your knee is staying aligned with the foot and you're not over here. We also wanna have those glutes in a good range of motion. So coming down, letting that ankle travel forward, standing back up. Again, nice and tall through the core. Don't let the knee come out or in as you press up, keeping that all straight. This is really good to build core, hip, ankle, and knee stability and working on your alignment here. Don't be afraid to pick up some heavy weights. Build some strong, stable knees in the walking lunges, as these exercises can really carry over to sprinting and other athletic movements as you build up that weight. Because imagine you're playing soccer and you're getting pushed around. You're really stable in that single leg position, or you're running and cutting and you plant. Being more stable here will prevent you from rolling that knee inwards and injuring your knees. So really important, mobilize that ankle, don't neglect it, get those hips moving, spend a lot of time on them, and really strengthen knees with these 3 variations. It's gonna be super effective. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and if you want to book an online session for an assessment to build a strength and conditioning plan. All the info is in the show notes below. And as always, gotta stay fit.